down. Holy crap. Damn, I'm gonna need more water. But anyway, welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago. And today, we're here to talk about what went down on Monday Night Raw after the Clash in Paris. But before we do that, please, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment down below, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. Clash in Paris ended with Becky Lynch helping Seth Rollins retain the World Heavyweight Championship, indicating that the power couple may be more of a unit on screen moving forward. Well, we're going to take a look at what happened in Paris, as this Raw took place, of course, at 2 o'clock, ended around 4:45. Don't mess with Jey Uso's family. Or, better yet, don't mess with the Zohan. After a recap of Clash in Paris and the usual shots of people arriving to the arena, Jey Uso made his way out to a crowd full of people chanting and singing for him. He was still banged up and in a bad mood after what happened on Sunday's PLE. He said he didn't regret helping Roman Reigns, even though it ended up getting him hurt because it's family. He called out the vision for a fight, but Mr. LA Knight, came out instead. He said they both lost Sunday night, but it was Uso's fault because he couldn't focus on what mattered. Breaker and Reed came out on stage to talk some trash after a few minutes of back and forth insults. The Brawns challenged Uso and Knight to a tag team match. The babyfaces accepted to end the segment. This was some pretty standard stuff, but the crowd was super into it. And the reason it's probably a B- is because it kind of lacked towards the end, which is understandable. Especially when we're doing this whole, like, start the show, end the show, fucking roundabout kind of bit. Now, what was I going to say? That's right. Knight, LA Knight, he had a bit of fire under his ass here. He fucking was pissed. So, we could be getting a little tease of a heel turn for LA Knight, which I am all for. He's got the mic skills to do it. And he's got, he's coming off as a heel a bit. He's if you put Uso and LA Knight in a match together, it's going to be good. It'll spark some fire. It'll spark something. I accept the grade. And Punk was also shown waiting for Rollins to arrive backstage as the show was going on. So, logic is always not a big part of wrestling, but it's nice when it shows up. And actually, logic is a part. Now, I mean, not the rapper. Shout out Logic. But logic is actually a part of wrestling. It has to make sense. Logic is making sense. And if making sense isn't going to be there, well, when has WWE ever made sense? Well, they made sense on some occasion, but they need it for telling stories. Even though it's not always a big part of wrestling. It's not. It's practically the storytelling to it, but logic has to go into storytelling. I don't know. I think this point's dumb, but it's nice to see it show up once in a while. Whatever. The Kabuki Warriors took on the Judgment Day to kick us off. I kind of missed out on this match because I was helping my mom with the groceries. So, the first match this week saw Roxanne Perez and, of course, Raquel Rodriguez take on Asuka and Kairi Sane. The Prodigy and the Empress of the Sky started for their teams, respectively, with a basic lockup struggle. Perez slapped Asuka and then immediately retreated out of the ring to avoid a kick. They kept a steady pace as both teams started to make tags. Sane and Perez had a nice sequence before, of course, Rodriguez tagged in and overpowered the fucking pirate Disney princess. Sane took out Rodriguez at ringside with her signature elbow, while Asuka got the win for the team with an Asuka lock on Roxanne for her to just tap the fuck out. The Empress tried to end with a different move, but it went eerie and she improvised. So, I don't know maybe a hip attack. I think that's maybe a hip attack, but it didn't go something where I caught the ending, but it was not. No, I don't fucking know what was going on. This was a decent match, but the way it ended stood out as strange, especially the usual flawless Asuka. Especially from the usually flawless Asuka. The Kabuki Warriors won more, a step probably more towards the women's tag team titles. Maybe. B minus. I agree. Rodriguez did a surprising amount of selling for Sane, which is always nice. Io was shown talking to Asuka and Sane backstage. It was clear Asuka did not want her help on Monday night, even though they helped Sky previously. The tension is slowly being built. Well, this was another surprise from, of course, the Paris crowd. If you're from Paris, or you are French, a lot of people loved fucking Finn Balor, and not so much Dragon Lee. I've heard a lot of boos, and I heard a lot of cheers, especially when Finn Balor won. We went from the women's Judgment Day to the men of the Judgment Day, when JD McDonough accompanied Finn Balor to the ring for a singles match against Dragon Lee. It's great to feature Dragon Lee on the show, but to have him lose, come on. Every single fucking time, bruh. Every single fucking time? See, Balor took control right away with a wrist lock and wrestled Lee to the mat. But the High Flyer didn't take long to reverse it, and they traded moves. And of course, the prince of this Disney fulfilling bullshit seemed to have the advantage most of the time. We returned from a break to see Lee starting to make a comeback. He had a series of fast-paced moves that had Balor reeling. The fans started chanting, and of course they were chanting for the heel, waving their arms as the luchador was on a roll. But as soon as Balor hit a drop kick, the crowd was on his side. He hit a coup de grace for the 1-2-3 victory and the win to end a fun encounter. Lee taking the loss here wasn't surprising, but WWE needs to do something interesting with him soon. He's too good to be floundering like this. Maybe put him down in NXT for a little bit. Or have him be featured in AAA, motherfuckers. Damn. Finally, a returning tag team. And they're not so much doing anything with their tag team. So, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods teamed up with Grayson Waller to take on the returning Eric and Ivar, the War Raiders. Of course, teaming up with Penta. I'm trying to mock and copy his signature walk, but I'm doing my best to do it with respect. In a 6-man tag team match. It's been a while since we've seen Eric and Ivar, and they looked excited to be back in the ring with their longtime rivals, the New Day. The Raiders and Penta took out their opponents with some triple team offense before they all did the Penta strut to send us into a break. We came back, of course, well, to more shenanigans. But we've seen the New Day and the War Raiders fight so many times that it feels like there's nothing new they can do at this point. But it has been long enough since the last encounter they've had, so it didn't feel repetitive. All 6 men looked great. Eric and Ivar were the stars of this bout. The crowd was clearly happy to see them back in action, and so were we on our TV screens. This was a solid performance, even if it was on the predictable side. It could have been better a little, if with a little more time. Adam Pearce announced 2 things. One, he was shown banning Balor and McDonough backstage for Dominic Mysterio's match later in the show. And then eventually, if they don't mention it here, no, I'll mention it now. Or I'm looking back. Okay, no, I'll mention it now. At WrestlePalooza, it's going to be Io Sky versus Stephanie Vakir for the Women's World Championship. Now, I think it's the right call, but at the same time, it feels repetitive. Because if you think about it, Io Sky and Stephanie Vakir have faced multiple times on episodes of Raw, and especially when Io was champion. Now, Stephanie Vakir and Io Sky are both respected, well respected, and just to see them go at it again at WrestlePalooza, they better be pulling out some this better go for more than like 25 minutes. All right? I want this to go longer than what they have on Raw, okay? Because I know what these women are capable of, and I know they can do everything. So, please, for the love of God, please have, and I guarantee you, Stephanie Vakir is going to win. I could guarantee it now, but I'm not. Because Io Sky could win. But with everything that's going on with Io, with Rhea Ripley and Asuka and Kairi Sane, it seems that putting a title on her would not do her any justice. Especially with the storyline they got prepped. So Stephanie Vakir looks like the outlet here. They could still put it on Io, but then that ruins Stephanie Vakir having to wait longer just to lose. And I don't think that's worth the, I'll get to my predictions to it. But as far as we're heading, it looks like by the teases and the looks of things, it looks like we could be heading Stephanie Vickier becoming the new Women's World Champion. But don't want to jump to conclusions. But since we're jumping to our next match, Dominic Mysterio took on, of course, the phenomenal, the great one, AJ Styles. And of course, the Intercontinental Championship was on the line. See, Dom attacked Styles during the official introduction to give himself an early advantage. But the phenomenal one fired back with a trademark dropkick, followed by a slingshot elbow at ringside. Went to break, returned to see Dom in the driver's seat. He was keeping the pace slow to keep Styles grounded, but it only worked for so long. This match ended up having more commercials than usual. And I missed it because I missed the ending because I had to go pick up my cousin. So he replayed it back and watched that, which hurt the flow and presentation a little. So maybe I was all right. The fans were loud and on their feet almost the entire time, but Dom played his role as a cowardly heel perfectly, while Styles leaned into the crowd's reactions. And oh my God, they had like a 5-minute ovation of standing for na 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 for AJ Styles. The rambunctious I know that's not the word, but the rambunctious French fans helped make the match feel more important than ever. And Styles and Mysterio did a great job giving them a reason to cheer. Unfortunately, though, something that I have to give this downgrade for is El Grande Americano showed up and attacked AJ Styles while the referee was distracted. And it was, of course, Liquid Kaiser under the mask. Mysterio took advantage and hit a frog splash for the victory. Other than the fact that this had to have a dirty finish, it was an enjoyable performance. So I'm going to give it a B. But that plus, if anything, if it is a B plus, if I stick with the grade, the plus is for the fans. Because this match wouldn't have been anything without them. So, you know what, French? Fuck it. I'm gonna break the rules here. Fucking keep it a B plus. Keep it a B plus. Now backstage, Lara Valkyrie was gonna have a brief segment with Adam Pearce, and it looks like she's gonna be booked in a match next week. So, great. Becky Lynch has a bone to... Actually, more say Punk has a bone to pick with The Vision. CM Punk came to the ring and called out Seth Rollins. But what he got instead of having a man-to-man, he got a man-to-the-man. See, Becky Lynch came out to her husband's music. She mocked the crowd for chanting Punk's wife. The man ripped into the best in the world for insulting and attacking her husband repeatedly. He called Rollins a coward. Punk called Rollins a coward. And Lynch said he is everything Punk will never be. The Visionary eventually came out and told Punk to say what he wanted to say to his face, but Lynch blocked Punk's path. Punk, of course, cannot hit a woman, but Punk knows a woman who can hit her. And I think her name starts with an A, also has a J in it, and I think it has a Lee in the end. I think you know where I'm getting at. So, as he turned around, Punk was then brutally smacked several times by Rollins' wife, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch smacked him. You could see the aggression in his face. You could see, like, he so wants to pull Stone Cold Steve Austin and drop this bitch. After Rollins rocked away, though, the Second City said that I'm going to finish what I started with your husband, but I'm going to make sure one thing, too. You're going to regret putting your fucking hands on me. He didn't say the fucking, I improvised. But Lynch was the star of this segment, and this would have been another standard Punk promo, but it had not been for the fire she showed. So I'm giving this, actually, because I love the shit that they said, and Becky Lynch having to improvise some of our kind of like get the crowd to like shut the fuck up. I'm going to say that this is going to get turned into an A-. Or actually, fuck that. I'm giving it an A. I'm giving it an A because the promo wouldn't have been nothing without what we did here. And this would have been a stellar Punk promo. He was hijacking the show, standard Punk shit. And now we're continuing the feud with fucking Punk and Rollins, which is nice, but we're giving it a twist. We're having Becky Lynch get involved. So we're giving them kind of the Triple H Becky, like combining Evolution a little bit there. So we having Becky be with, so it's like as if Stephanie hooked up with fucking Triple H during Evolution. Like that's what, this would have been. And honestly, it's not a bad concept. It's not a bad idea. I like it. Or DX with Triple H and Stephanie back in the day, in the 90s. But I like this. This is fucking great. But again, more teases of AJ Lee coming back. And ladies and gentlemen, your main event of this week's Raw is brought to you by, of course, Yeah and Yeetos. Yup, pick them up at your local grocery stores. Yeahs and Yeetos. The new brand, of course, combining, of course, LA Knight and Jey Uso. And if, of course, you may find yourselves a little tiny Slim Jim inside there, too. I'm kidding. No sponsor. But, of course, this main event was booked in the opening segment, of course, to build up what we had left, which was like, I don't know, fucking 10 minutes, I thought. But instead, they kind of got through it. Reed and Uso started for their teams respectively, but Knight quickly tagged in to give his teammate some help, taking on the bigger man. This match played out as most bouts like this tend to. Both teams got in about the same amount of offense. The heels cheated here and there. The babyfaces found a way to rally at different times. Yada, yada, yada. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Standard stuff. Uso and Knight almost had a successful comeback, but Braun Breaker cut them off and was able to get the victory with, of course, a spear. So fear the spear, bitches. As usual, winning wasn't enough, so the heels kept the attack. Until, of course, I was like, yo, I had remembered that Roman Reigns was injured. I thought Roman Reigns was going to come out, but I remember Roman Reigns got injured. So I was like, where's Jimmy? Get Jimmy out here. And then, of course, Mr. I'm Born a King comes out. Jimmy Uso comes out and get the fuck out of here. Jimmy Uso hits the ring with a steel chair, and he makes a save for his brother. So it looks like we could be getting, at some point, we could be getting a feud between LA Knight and Jey Uso when LA Knight turns heel. But for the sake of WrestlePalooza, we could be getting the Usos back together and them taking on the Brawns. The Brawns versus the Usos. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus Jimmy and Jay. And I think Jimmy and Jay should pick up the victory there. But nonetheless, this was great, a B-. Again, Reed also mistimed a kick meant for Jay, but covered for it with a clubbing blow from behind. So, I don't give a fuck. What was the final word, though? Well, Monday Night Raw was relatively average, as last week's. That was elevated by a loud, rowdy fucking Paris crowd that never seemed to lose its energy. Chants and singing echoed in the arena all night, but a couple of people got louder reactions than others. Styles and Mysterio was easily the best match of the night. Compared to, of course, Lee and Balor, who put on a great performance, that's also worth watching. The fallout from Clash of Paris and the beginning towards WrestlePalooza took up a lot of time, but the show had the usual numbers of matches to keep the action going. So Punk and Rollins continuing their feud makes a lot of sense, and it should be interesting to see how they fill time between now and their showdown. And it looks like Punk's wife, AJ Lee, is on her way back to WWE, and it could be as early as Friday Night SmackDown in Chicago, because right before we got to the main event, Punk actually came out and fucking Punk was from behind. It was from behind. It was like, where is he? And Adam Pearce told him he left. You know where he works. He'll be here. He'll be here next week. You can get your revenge on next week. So Punk's like, I'm not gonna wait that long. And Milwaukee doesn't deserve it. Where's Friday? Chicago. Home sweet home. Why? Tremendous. I look forward to it. What is that supposed to mean? I'll tell you what that's supposed to mean. Oh, fuck. Let me try that again. We're getting AJ Lee back, bitches. That's what we're fucking getting. Light it up. Yeah. She's coming back. I'm telling you, she's coming back. And honestly, I'm going to try to catch SmackDown if I can. I'm going to try it. We're going to try. But this was great to be. This was definitely great to be. Honestly, for that A promo, I'm going to give it a B+. I'm going to give it a B+ for the show. Well deserved for Patty. So, we are on the road to WrestlePalooza. I'm going to keep saying it like that because I think it's more better. WrestlePalooza. So, we're on the road to WrestlePalooza. And it looks like we're getting a couple feuds headed our way. Of course, we know the Women's World Championship is going to be on the line. We know that Becky and Seth are probably going to take on CM Punk and AJ Lee. Jey Uso could look to team up with his brother to take on, of course, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. So everything looks pretty good for Raw right now, heading into WrestlePalooza. For SmackDown, though, we'll have to find out in Chicago. We have to find out in Chicago. Some other news, though, of course, if you guys haven't checked out, my cousin will be here Friday to give you the breakdown, of course, of what went down and the results and takeaways from, of course, the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles game. And, of course, he will be back here on Saturday as well to give you the breakdown of the Chiefs, which I'm going to have to set up too. The Chiefs and the Chargers game that's free on YouTube. So you guys can check that out as well. I'll be setting that up soon too. But yeah, I'll be back Saturday as well for the SmackDown summary. And yeah, so I think that's it. And we'll see you guys next week for the Raw review. And we will be at the Springfield, of course, Mass Mutual Center show September 15th, Monday Night Raw. We'll be there, the go-home show before WrestlePalooza. So, yeah. You guys have a good day, and I will see you guys later. Peace! I said peace!